Did you ever hear about Teresa of Ávila trying to run away from home when she was just 7?
No
She
way.
was such a fascinating figure.
That's wild. I mean, what was she thinking at that age?
Well, she and her brother wanted to become martyrs by going to fight the
Wow.
Moors. Can you believe the zeal she had even as a child?
That's incredible. And to think she was so devoted from such a young age.
Yeah, but then during her teenage years, she got caught up in social life and even had an
Right.
interest in fashion and worldly pleasures.
So she was kind of living the typical teenage experience back then?
Exactly. After her mother died when she was 13, her father sent her to a convent hoping she'd
Mm-hmm.
straighten out.
And did that ignite her spiritual journey?
It did, but not immediately. She struggled a lot with illness and doubts when she first joined the
Yeah.
Carmelite Order at 20.
Oh, so it wasn't smooth sailing from the start?
Not at all. She experienced profound mystical visions, though, which really
Interesting.
shaped her later teachings.
Like the famous one that inspired Bernini's The Ecstasy of Saint Teresa?
Yes, the angel piercing her heart with a flaming spear symbolizing
Right.
an overwhelming encounter with God's love.
That's such a powerful image.
It really is. But she became dissatisfied with the lax discipline in her convent and
Yeah.
decided to reform the Carmelite order.
That must have been challenging, especially for a woman in the 16th century.
Absolutely. In 1562, she founded St. Joseph's Convent in Avila,
Hmm.
emphasizing poverty, prayer, and simplicity.
So that's how the discalced Carmelite reform started?
Exactly. She faced opposition from church authorities and even other nuns, but she
Right.
persisted.
That's some serious perseverance.
Over 2 decades, she established 17 reformed convents and monasteries traveling all over
Wow.
Spain.
And she was writing during this time too, wasn't she?
Yes, her writings are some of the most profound in Christian mysticism, like The Interior
Definitely.
Castle and The Way of Perfection.
I've heard the interior castle is about the soul's journey toward God.
That's right. She describes it as a castle with 7 mansions, each representing
Right.
a stage of spiritual development.
That's such a beautiful metaphor.
It really is. And The Way of Perfection offers practical advice on prayer and humility, especially aimed at
Mm.
her nuns.
Her autobiography gives deep insights into her mystical experiences too.
Exactly. She was very open about her struggles and her relationship with God, which was rare for that
Yeah.
time.
But didn't she face accusations of heresy because of her visions?
She did. The Inquisition was a constant threat, but she managed to
Right.
navigate those challenges with grace.
That's impressive.
And let's not forget her collaboration with John of the Cross, who
Oh,
was
yes.
instrumental in the reform for the male branch of the order.
They really ignited a spiritual renewal together.
They did. But you know, some argue that her methods were too radical for her time.
Really? How so?
Well, her emphasis on personal mystical experiences over traditional practices
Hmm.
made some officials uneasy.
I can see that, but wasn't that what made her teachings so impactful?
Exactly. Her focus on an intimate relationship with God resonated with many and still
Yeah.
does today.
Perhaps her radical approach was just ahead of its time.
I think so. And ultimately, the church recognized her contributions, canonizing
Right.
her in 1622.
And she was named a doctor of the church in 1970, wasn't she?
Yes, one of the first women to receive that title, which is a huge
Exactly.
acknowledgement of her theological impact.
Her legacy is truly timeless.
It is. Her teachings on contemplative prayer and humility continue to inspire people around the world.
Absolutely. You know, her life shows how personal struggles can lead to profound contributions.
Definitely. She turned her challenges into a catalyst for change both within
Yeah.
herself and the church.
It's a reminder that perseverance can make a real difference.
Couldn't agree more. Teresa of Avila remains a beacon for spiritual seekers, even
Indeed.
centuries later.
Maybe we should revisit some of her writings together.
I'd love that. Her insights are as relevant today as ever,
Mm-hmm.
especially in our fast paced world.
So true. Finding that inner castle might be just what we need.
Exactly. It's like she said, the soul's journey is an adventure inward toward unity
Right.
with the divine.
Well, here's to embarking on that journey ourselves.
Cheers to that. Let's keep her
Cheers.
spirit alive in our own lives.